Dave Velkamp with $20 million Referrals, Remax Grand Rapids. Dave, I'd like to just start with some quick reminders. Lots of times we just need more reminders than anything else, right? We already know what to do. You don't need something new, just a reminder about what are the options out there, what are the things that we should be doing. So first off, just a reminder, your sphere needs to hear from you often. And really, it is impossible to contact them too much as long as, and this is the key point, you're providing value with each time that you're touching them or contacting them. And that's what we are all about with the $20 million referral program. And the reason being is that you want to contact them often as sellers are thinking about their sale for 6 months before they finally pull the trigger on it. Buyers are thinking about their move for 3 to 4 months. All of the activities that you're doing now, and this is the reminder part, all that you're doing right now is really what's filling your pipeline for the second half of 2024. So that's why it's so important to stay on top of this regularly each month. Now, last month, I asked you guys to do this when you were online, and that's just to rank your last month. I think I even said your first quarter, from 1 to 10 about how you feel about your business was, maybe it was your activity, whatever it is, and to write that number down just so you kind of have that, hey, that's that baseline of whatever I felt like I was at. And so I encourage you to do that again this month. Feel free to share it in the chat. And then also think about what number do you want your business to be at next month? 1 being the lowest, right? 10 being the highest, and feeling like you're really hitting on all cylinders. And then once you have that, throughout the rest of the material we talk about for the month of May, think about what do you need to do to make it happen. We're always planning ahead. We're always trying to give you stuff ahead of time so that you have time to implement it. We know things get busy, and so we want you to be well prepared. But throughout this meeting, write down those things that you need to do to make that number change. All right, I love Brian was at a 5. I like Cheryl. She's saying last month she was at a 1. She's going to be a 10 for May and June. So let's make that jump happen. That's awesome. Yeah, and don't settle for that same number. All right, Brian, he's going to jump to a 9 for May and June. I love it. If you follow along the one-page planner, these are the activities that are in there for May, the reasons to call or leave voicemails, the reasons to email or text, the reasons to mail or postcard. That QR code there, if you want direct access to all of the resources for each one of those, the scripts, the dialogues, the templates, you can scan that QR code, or you can just go to the membership site and then you'll get access to it there. All the ones, again, with the blue pluses, those are ones that are already integrated into our KV core system here at Remax of Grand Rapids. If you're with us, making that much easier. Q2 events. Last month, we just encouraged you to be planning your Q2 events because now we're into Q2. If you haven't selected one yet, really encourage you to do that. Get it a date selected, get a budget in place. Some of these are super easy to do, super easy. And if you want to be the favorite of your neighborhood, if the favorite neighbor, do it in your neighborhood on a Saturday, get the dumpster delivered to your house and have everybody come and throw away their stuff for spring cleaning over at your place. You'll have a ton of conversation with all your neighbors. You'll dominate your neighborhood, and you'll be the favorite neighbor for the entire spring because people all have stuff that they want to clear out of the house after the long winter. So that is a super easy one. Q2 gifts. If you are planning any sort of pop-by gifts or client gifts for the second quarter, some of these, Easter was super early. So that was actually even in Q1. But so that's off the list. But in case you didn't know, we only list 5 on that one-page planner. But if you go to the resource site, there's actually 10 pop-by gifts ideas for each quarter, all very timely and fit that time of year. So if you don't, and it gives a little deeper explanation of what each one of those gifts are so that you can put them together and deliver them to your clients. So I encourage you to go and check out the membership site for those additional Q2 gift ideas. And the other big thing here is just make a decision on a delivery date and on a budget, write it down, and you are far more likely to make sure that that actually happens just by making that small commitment of writing it down. biggest and easiest contact opportunity for a good chunk of many of your spheres is simply Mother's Day. It is May 12th this year, so here's your reminder, both from a business side of things and a personal side of things, so that you don't forget your mother or forget those mothers in your life. Always good to remember. Very important date. Don't want to miss that, right? Some quick pro tips on this. Decide your communication type. How are you going to reach out? Is it going to be a card? Is it going to be a text message? Is it going to be a video text? Maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe it's whatever that communication language that you know that person really appreciates, or that's the way that they like to communicate. That's what's important here. Not so much how we like to communicate, but how they like to communicate.
Yeah.
We have Mother's Day gift card designs on the membership site that you can download and use and send to your favorite printer. Or if you're with us at Remax Grand Rapids, we have printed Mother's Day cards available at the office already. And our biggest thing is prepare now. Both prepare your messages, so you can prepare those cards. You can write them right now. If it's video text, you can record those video text messages right now and just not send them until later. But span it out, make a goal for the certain amount that you want to get done each week, and make sure you have that list prepared of the people that you're going to send it to. And if you want to take it a step further and you just want to knock it all out at once, have a little card writing event. If you're a team leader, get your team together, buy some lunch, or maybe it's dinner and it's pizza and some beers and wine, whatever it is. Sit there and just knock out as many cards as you can once you have your list prepared, and just have some fun with it. You'll feel good about it and you'll have it all done. AC tune-up discount. And you can do this multiple ways, but partnering with a local company, I love this because it's showing how much you care for their home, and it's teaching them about the importance of home maintenance, but it's also an easy way for you to provide that value. So call a company, see if they're willing to give you a discount that you could promote to your sphere. Oftentimes they will, because you're taking care of that advertising for them, but make sure to mention, and it helps to talk about the size of your database, the amount of people that you're advertising to. If they're not willing to provide a discount, the alternative way is you send out a coupon for a certain amount of discount, $20 off, whatever it is, and you pay the company for the amount of coupons they received turned in for that AC tune-up. Sometimes this requires a down payment with that company. Maybe you got to put $500 down with that company. So they have that already in place. And if you want to maximize the discount, maybe you can do a combination of both. Maybe the company's willing to give some and you're willing to give some, and that really adds that big benefit to your sphere. Social media. So this is one that we don't talk about a lot on the $20 million referral program, because it's not that direct contact, and sometimes it's hard to measure as well. But each month, there are social media documents in there with ideas for each day what to post. And so if you go and start preparing for May now, you can download this PDF and start getting things scheduled. Some important things to note. So May actually is National Remodeling Day. And if you go to the National Association of Home Builders, they actually have some good resources there that you might want to share. They also have some really great photos and a great library documentation of what they call the top remodels of the year. They give awards away. And what's cool about it is they actually break it down into like really big whole house remodels and say, hey, from, costs from 700,000 to whatever. And hey, here's kitchen remodels from 75K to 100K, and here's kitchen remodels from 150K to 200K. And it's just and then bathrooms too, the same way. And it gives some visuals to it. So kind of a cool tool to be able to talk with your sphere about, hey, here's some of the things that a kitchen like this looks like, or here's what this amount of money could buy you for this type of remodel. So I encourage you to check that out for National Remodeling Month, and also share that with your sphere through social media. Obviously, you got Cinco de Mayo, you got Mother's Day, like we talked about, you got Memorial Day at the end of the month. some bonus content that I promised you and want to cover really quick. Some of you have seen these already, but for those of you who haven't downloaded them already, I wanted to include them in here. And this is specific dialogues around talking about a lot of what's come out from the NAR settlement and the commission lawsuits. So document number 1, 3 ways you could describe shared compensation to sellers. You can get it with that QR code there. It just helps you talk about what that actually is so that they can understand it and why it's been like that and why it may be advantageous. And that's really what the 5 reasons for why offering shared compensation is a benefit to home sellers. So we all know we're going to have to explain to buyers our value as well, but I also wanted to provide these because I think it's important to talk to sellers about these topics. I'm Dave Velkamp with $20 million referrals in RE/MAX GR. I hope you enjoyed the video that you just watched. If you feel like you've received any value from the information we share on a regular basis, all we ask is that you please keep our firm in mind if you come across agents or individuals who are looking for something new or different. We might be a good fit for them. Your referrals would mean the world to us. They can get in touch with us through the links in the description. Thank you so much. But a quick explanation on this of why a seller still might want to share out a cooperating compensation to an agent. If we take a look at a scenario where we have a buyer who's got 80K and they can put 80K down and they want to have 20% down so they don't have to pay PMI and everything like that, that means they have a 400K buying power, right? That's close to the average home in our area. But if that buyer, say, was going to pay their buyer's agent compensation separate, that means they're taking some of that cash available away. And so let's just say they take 10K to pay their buyer's agent commission. That leaves 70% down. Well, if they're still going for that 20% down to avoid PMI and everything, that reduces their buying power to just 350K. And that's a 50K reduction in buying power. And so, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do we really want our market of people out there wanting to buy? Do we really want to reduce their buying power? Or do we want them to be able to offer the most amount, have the most buying power possible so that we can maximize the return on your investment on the sale of your home, right? And there's lots of scenarios like this because we can play this out and say, okay, well, this is just the 20% scenario. What if they don't put 20% down and they just pay PMI? Well, then obviously that buyer has some restrictions on how much they can afford on a monthly payment. And that reduces down what they can afford. So we'll show that. Or if it's just, hey, they only have 20K to put down, actually that puts them in an even worse situation if they're paying things out. So we'll provide some great charts and graphs like this, because if I'm a seller, I would, and my returns are going to be potentially much higher. I would rather take the risk and say, hey, I'm going to pay out that shared compensation. That sounds good to me, to maybe pay out 10K to have the potential of selling my home at a much higher price point. And we want to make sure to highlight that because nobody's really talking about those numbers or the disadvantages that we're putting sellers at with these changes, as well as buyers. When we take a look at the returns, I would much rather be looking at, okay, I'm paying out, say in the 400K scenario, okay, I got to pay out 24K in commissions, so I'm netting 376. Well, in the 350, if I sell something for 350, sure, I'm not paying that buyer's agent compensation, but I'm still paying out about 10K, so I'm looking at 340. Well, 376 to 340, if I'm a seller, I'd rather shoot for the 376 take home, right? That's a large change. So those are the things that we'll be needing to be able to communicate going forward. During each quarter, we reach out and we survey hundreds of agents, and we ask them about just their confidence level at that point in time, and we hear a lot of things back about what's the biggest challenges that they're facing when we ask those questions. And believe it or not, and it was very consistent the last time that we did this, when we asked them what their number one challenge was, it wasn't these commission lawsuits, it wasn't their market conditions, it wasn't the inventory, it was really managing themselves. It was their own level of activity. Anybody who felt like they were struggling, well, not anybody, but a majority said, you know what, I was lower this month, but I know why. And that's not always the case. I'm not saying that is always the case, because lots of times we're doing the right activities, we're putting in all the effort, and it's just delayed results. It's like not yet. But there was a consistent theme this last month. And so I thought it was worth noting. And the reason I bring that up is because when talking to those folks, they said, but you know what? They know that their solution is that they are following a daily process. And those that had a daily process, their confidence level was still really high because they knew that it was just a delayed results. But those that didn't follow a daily process and also knew that their activity wasn't where they wanted to be, or knew that, hey, maybe I didn't put in the effort, their confidence levels were quite low. And so that's why I just thought it was important to bring that up. And there was actually a great suggestion to just say, hey, maybe for the next week, just give yourself a goal. Is it 10 conversation a day for a week and report it all in your CRM? Is it 7 conversations? Is it 5 conversations a day? And just see what changes over a week. See what types of conversations you have, because as we know, conversations create customers, right? And that way, at least you have a very basic daily process or daily goal to shoot for. And so I just thought it was worthwhile to share that with you. It was eye-opening, and I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir on so many of you with that. But it was great results from us. And actually, when I just as a note, the confidence level that we received from everybody after surveying was just over a 7 going into the second quarter, 7 out of 10. Which, given all the challenges right now, I thought was quite positive.
I'm Dave Velkamp with $20 million referrals in Remax GR. I hope you enjoyed the video that you just watched. If you feel like you've received any value from the information we share on a regular basis, all we ask is that you please keep our firm in mind if you come across agents or individuals who are looking for something new or different. We might be a good fit for them. Your referrals would mean the world to us. They can get in touch with us through the links in the description. Thank you so much.